So let me get this straight. Charlie Kirk had no coroner's report, no church funeral, no burial site or grave, no official death certificate. Why has no official autopsy been conducted, nor any findings released? No ballistics report. Not a single eyewitness on the record, and an award-winning widow already taking over his show. Why was the entire crime scene destroyed within hours, erasing vital evidence? They tore down everything, including the Dairy Queen. Why were there no paramedics on the scene? Why was Charlie Kirk's body removed and illegally flown out on Air Force Two? Why did Donald Trump pardon a Navy SEAL killer whose shadow looms over this case? Why was the stadium mysteriously booked by Turning Point 4 months before his death? How was a massive high-tech stadium memorial produced in only 11 days? Why do multiple women publicly appear as Erica Kirk, raising questions of identity? Why are there no birth certificates for their children? No names revealed, no faces ever shown? Where is a video of Charlie playing with his kids at a birthday party, or picnic, or any other family setting? Why do Freemasonic and satanic symbols surround this tragedy with chilling precision? Interesting that the gun was found on property owned by Palantir. Isn't it interesting Kash Patel fired many of the heads of the FBI in that area days before the shooting? Do you find it interesting that Charlie sold his house 8 months ago for $5 million? If the father of your 2 young children was just brutally murdered for the world to see days ago, do you leave them home with a nanny while you go on podcasts grinning from ear to ear? Is it not curious that a 17-year-old first-time Donald Trump beauty pageant contestant won, and now Trump appointed a top attorney general woman who has no experience, who was also in his beauty pageant? This is only a fraction of the clues and evidence on this psyop. For those of you brave enough to look at the evidence while removing the preconceived emotions, the conclusion is undeniable.
All right, quiet on the set.
Roll sound.
Green can. Why Kirk can eat. Fade up music.
Bravo!
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Why isn't this marked off and taped off as a crime scene? And why is this guy in the white shirt taking the most very important camera down? What you think is the most very important camera there, why is he taking it down? Well, here's why. Because it's not a crime scene. A crime didn't take place here, and that's not a camera. Now, before I tell you what it is, I want you to get a real good look at it as he's taking it down. Anybody figure out what it is yet? Okay, here's what it is. It's called a hologram projector. And if you don't believe me, you can go look them up online. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Usually $20 to $60, $70, $80,000 for these things. And they come in different varieties. Now, Hollywood calls them hologram stage projectors. Now you see how Charlie's little tent there is a perfect square, and as you can tell, it's 10 foot squared, 10 foot all the way around on each square, and it's about 9 foot tall. That's because it has to be for the projection to work. Now, let's explain.
For smaller spaces, the projectors can be configured with mirrors to elongate the projection path and maintain picture integrity. Eyeliner displays ideally require a minimum footprint of 10 feet square and a height of 9 feet to show full-size human figures. What you are seeing is a reflected image which is so true and realistic to the original, it has become known as a virtual image.
Because it is a hologram stage projection that you guys were watching.
These performers are holograms.
Every series, we take one step closer to achieving all of the sci-fi dreams.
It's pretty cool. You'll never have to miss a gig again. The gig can come to you.
It's all smoke and mirrors. The world is a stage, people. Get over it. You've been lied to.
First and foremost, the world is in fact a stage. You are looking at actors and actresses that are playing the part of leaders. And we are unwitting participants. It is a stage. The entire world is a stage. Nothing is real. Your freedoms aren't real. You've been enslaved by lies. There's a global government that's running everything. We control the media. We control the textbooks. And you're essentially just a patient in a very long-running MK Ultra experiment.
Let's see what are they doing, because I see a lot of construction smoke going on. Oh no, they are constructing, they are taking out the whole platform where he was sitting.
This is the courtyard where it all happened. The university is already making some changes. They're replacing the grass where Charlie Kirk was speaking with pavers.
I think the guy with the sunglasses and the tan shirt is the one that had the trigger for the explosion on Charlie Kirk's neck. You can see in this video, whenever the shot goes off, everybody else flinches besides that one guy. And to me, it looks like he was bracing for the shot. You can see him pull on his shirt and what looks to be a trigger for the explosion that went off. And it's timed perfectly for when Charlie got hit. Also, the most damning evidence, whenever he jumps over the table and he goes to Charlie, you can see him hand something to somebody else. What I think he's doing is handing somebody else the trigger that they used to detonate the explosive. I think that this guy has the key to what actually happened to Charlie Kirk.
Yo, listen. Let me share a tale about a secret society that's been prevailing for centuries. They've been in the game. Freemasonry, with roots in the Knights Templar's name. Yo. The Templars, a brotherhood of old, founded by Hudipians with a mission to hold, protecting pilgrims and defending the faith. Their legacy lives on in the Masonic way. The temple symbolism is still used today. The square and compass, the pillars of strength and might, were part of a tradition that's centuries old, with a bond that's strong and a legacy that's gold. The Crusades were fought with a noble quest. The Templars were there with a mission to protect their
Look at the man in black on the left without panicking. Goes right away to cushion Charlie Kirk fall on his right. All this was stage.
So I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital.
Oh, okay. Can you just do a field clip documenting that?
I'm sorry, 10-9?
Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy?
287, I'll be clear to the hospital.
I need an officer at Timpanogos Hospital to come stage in the emergency room bay.
Jesse just told me that he just got on the phone and Charlie's wife is coming to Signature and they're bringing a car over here for her right now.
Charlie's wife is coming to land at Signature, you said?
Sir, and Jesse's going to go to Duncan right now and pick up a car for her.
Okay, I'm a little confused because that's what Corey just said. They said they're landing at Duncan, so I don't know where they're landing, but we will just kind of play it by ear, I guess, best that we can.
Her smile, her radiance, I can tell that she's got not only outward beauty, but in her beauty, and that's what I'm looking for in a woman.
Obviously, people love to hear the story about how we met. It was a wintry night in London. I was filming a podcast, and you had a friend who was a mutual friend. He and I were supposed to meet up, and he never told me that he had actually organized an entire dinner for me and for Charlie Kirk with about 30 people. So I arrive 3 hours late. My assistant informs me that, and I sat next to you, and you basically said nothing to me.
The first time we actually met was at the RSC Club, Royal Automobile Club in London on Pall Mall, and you were giving a speech, and I think from that moment onwards, the connection was made.
You basically said nothing to me.
From that moment onwards, the connection was made.
So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City, and right near this very table was the first time Dad met Mama.
So we met at the office opening, the Turning Point headquarters office opening, the first one.
It was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her.
It was like 3.5 hours, and they were starting to close up, and he was finished with his burger, just sat there. And I'm like looking around like, okay, did I get the job?
I want to meet somebody with the same beliefs. I'm like a really big Christian. I'm like...
So you wouldn't meet him at church or anything? It's tough. 18 days later,
that's right.
We get engaged.
Her smile, her radiance, I can...
And here you have it. Watch the dude as he grabs the squib off of Charlie, puts it in his pocket. Watch closely. The one guy grabs the squib, gives it to the guy with the polo. He puts it in his pocket. Now the other guy that I once said, press the remote for the squib, takes the remote, puts it in the other guy's pocket, and he takes off. So the first guy gets the squib that was on the neck. Watch closely. So, boom, shot. There's the guy with the blue, puts it in his pocket. Here's the guy with the remote, puts it in his pocket. And scene. I told you guys, the guy with the brown shirt, when he pulled up his shirt, he was pressing the remote for the squib. And there you have it.
I arrived at a Utah hospital to do the unthinkable.
Many hugs to children and his family and our beautiful first lady.
At my husband's murdered body.
I do think he likes to give.
I saw the wound that ended his life.
What is President Trump's favorite food?
I felt
President Trump
you would
loves
expect
a lot
to
of different
feel.
foods, but I think his favorite is
I felt
probably
shocked.
steak. I've had steak with him on many occasions, and he likes to eat a big, beautiful steak.
Of heartache.
Single gray hair. Dario, would you like to go?
Have a superpower, what would it be? He likes to get things done very quickly, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Like today, he had to go to Capitol Hill to convince people, to convince people, to convince people.
What looks random is rarely random with them.
Just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing. I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband. Well, that was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line. And I remember looking behind me. And in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was. And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar. And as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that? No, not until we were like 3 months into our relationship and looking at timestamps, seeing that both of us were in Israel at the same time. But nothing is by coincidence.
Nothing is by coincidence. Like the fact Erica chose to give the devil horns at a memorial, a public symbol of initiation and allegiance, a hand signal that says I'm in the order. Its shape recalls the horns of Baphomet, turning a casual pose into a ritual badge flashed in plain sight, yet hidden from the uninitiated. Then there's the fact that her family's backstory makes less sense than Barack Obama's CIA fabricated official record. Major news profiles describe her as raised by a single mother in Arizona, but that's just the cover story.
Erica Kirk, talking about how her mother, when they moved to Arizona, why they moved to Arizona, because her mother works for the Department of Homeland Security.
Hey, can I ask a question? It's maybe off topic. How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. She was getting involved with the government.
Then there's her family's connections to ancient elite orders and her father's connections to Israel. These are ties that run deep, reaching into defense contracts and even the very construction of the IDF's Iron Dome system.
Erica Kirk's no grieving saint. She's wired into the machine. Knights of Malta? Spot on. She flashed that Black Cross pendant in her first widow clip, same one every sovereign military order knight wears, and her family's donated heavy to Catholic orders forever. Freemason angle's subtler. Her dad, Kent Francefay, wasn't just Raytheon. He chaired their Israel division, funneled billions in Iron Dome cash while Charlie's old man designed Trump Tower. Yeah, but also the bunker levels nobody admits exist. Erica? Inherited $23 million at 25 from a trust. Come on, that's not beauty queen money. That's Mossad's slush fund. She started Everyday Heroes as cover, funneled donations straight to pro-Israel NGOs. And that G-ring? Not grief. Grand Lodge symbol, worn by 33rd degree insiders. Delivered that speech 2 days after the shot because it was pre-taped. Voice forensics say the room echo doesn't match. Lighting's wrong, and Tyler Robinson's still denying he fired. She's carrying the legacy all right. TPUSA's already slipping to Jewish board vets who loathe her. So expect her moved on by Christmas, maybe with a Zionist tech bro. Wonder Woman? More like Handler who got her asset clipped.
With family ties like these, it's no wonder Charlie seemed to know that he was treading on dangerous ground, grimacing, twitching, and betraying himself with nervous tics whenever the questions got too close.
You can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's
and
right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages.
It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side.
This is dangerous ground. And I know some people are going to be upset. But that's the point of alternative media, saying what others won't. And trust me, people do know the truth. Take Tucker Carlson. At the Charlie Kirk Memorial, he slipped it past the censors with a parable, an analogy about Jesus Christ, silence for speaking truth, cut down not by accident but by design. In his words, guys in a room eating hummus decided the solution was simple, just kill the messenger. A quiet hint, but a powerful one, and it didn't go unnoticed.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist, and it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
This isn't just a story, it's a call to action. Share it, question everything, and remember, together, we are stronger than the silence they want to keep us in. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the elites, but we need your help. Subscribe.
Breaking news, folks. Turns out Charlie Kirk had bones of steel, strong enough to stop bullets. We just got our first bit of actual confirmation about findings of the autopsy, and they make the story even more unbelievable, if you could believe it. We'll tell you more all about that in just a minute. But the important thing is that Tyler Robinson is safe and sound in FBI custody, waiting for all the cameras to shut off and the guards to take a nap so that he can do a little bit of bedsheet origami. The FBI has charged him with aggravated murder, along with a host of other supporting charges, and are seeking the death penalty. It turns out Tyler Robinson almost got away clean, leaving the scene with no evidence, except for a detailed text message confession about how he used his firearm to eliminate the acquired target, and then got into his vehicle and was on the lam for 0800 hours. Pay no attention to the fact that we now know that the FBI has footage of the shooter taking the shot, and they specifically cut the video they released to start just after that part. Obviously, not because he never took the shot, probably never even had the rifle on the roof, but because of redacted. Pay no attention to the old man actively causing a distraction to help the shooter escape, or to the more than 10 strange flying objects that have been located in the cell phone footage, or to the fact that the wound doesn't match the shot, or to the fact that we are being shown a fabricated text message chain, or to the new photo that surfaced of Bro stopping by Dairy Queen for a little blizzy while he's the subject of a statewide manhunt. Trust the FBI to get to the bottom of it, just like they did with the Epstein files. Because just last week, Kash Patel came out and officially told us that Epstein never even trafficked anyone to anyone. Hundreds of victims are all lying to us. The court that convicted Epstein was totally wrong. Ignore all the evidence and forget all about it. Midterms are just a year away, and you're supposed to hate your neighbor way more by then. So they're going to need you to stop talking about uniting in our hatred of Israel and get back to the race war that they had scheduled. Thank you very much.
Conspiracy theories are entering a
information is the oxygen of a democracy.
There's so much evidence out there that even if less than 1% is true, that may be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.
Tyler was a straight A kid in high school with a 4.0 GPA. He used to be a good kid, but then became radicalized and turned into extremist after he went to college. Our college education system is run by a bunch of Zio supremacists that indoctrinate and radicalize our youth and push them into constant destructive protests and extremist acts. Regardless of your opinion on Charlie, I think both sides can agree that the root of a major problem that we have in this country is our college education system run by Zios. The Zog controls our media and our politicians, but also controls our education system as well as part of its system. Half the presidents of all Ivy League colleges are Blue Jay Zios, and all those colleges have heavy antiseptic programs for brainwashing and indoctrination of our youth. They push atheism, anti-Islam, anti-Christian, and push their racism against all groups of people except their own, and they want everyone to protect Jays. And these aren't even new accusations. Going back to 1903 in Russia, the publication of the Protocols of the Elders of Z. It stated that Zs are trying to take over the education system. Remember Blue State's intelligence agency model, through deception wage war. In that, trick your enemies into fighting your enemies. And trick your own college kids to go against their own family, to go against their own religion, to go against their own country. And the Russian war over the Zyos, the Blue Jay Bolshevik war, one of their tactics was to trick the college kids to helping tear down their own country and society and help put Blue Jays in power. Blue Jays never do their own dirty work. They always send others to do their dirty work for them, including college kids. We need to defeat the Zog. Purge the Zio control over our education system. Return schools to being politically neutral and centers of education and not centers of brainwashing more new soldiers for the Blue State Empire. This is evil. Israel using AI to put words in a dead man's mouth for their own propaganda.
Don't worry about me. I'm in a better place now. But America and Israel, from this day on, will never be the same. This is the wake-up call. They tried to shut me up. They couldn't stand a voice that didn't sound like theirs. And that's exactly why we have to fight. We exposed the lie. I spoke the truth, and they hated every second of it. I know you guys are hurting. It feels like you lost me. You didn't. You can't kill an idea. You can't murder faith. Spirit doesn't break. They mocked me. I kept going. Tried to silence me, I spoke louder. They warned me, no way. Truth's worth the price every single time. America was built on faith, on freedom, on family. Same with Israel. Standing tall, fighting back, never backing down. That's our bond. That's our story. Here's the thing. Those who tried to scare me only made me stronger. Those who tried to silence me proved I was right. So I'm asking you, don't go quiet. Don't bend. Don't give in. America needs you. Israel needs you. And when people remember me, let it be for courage, for faith, for hope. Because this wasn't the end. This was the opening shot of a change that's coming. And it's going to be for the better.
That is an evil thing to do, especially since Charlie Kirk stopped taking money from Israel and was even turning against them the last few months that he was alive. So that makes that extra evil Zio propaganda right there.
Charlie Kirk has been shot. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. Safety team is here. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. I just heard them say the active shooter, Charlie Kirk, has been shot. The security detail. Charlie Kirk got hit. What the security detail just said.
Right there. Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's the shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Right there. Right there. Watch the shooter. That's the shooter. Right there.
His shirt went up and everything.
Yep.
Side. I knew it was a side shot. I knew it wasn't straight on.
Right.
This is absolutely mind-blowing.
To explain this for me, this is the video of Charlie Kirk getting shot. You see he's got like a microphone or something attached to him. Also, while he's holding a microphone, and I'm going to go frame by frame, and someone needs to explain what this black dot is for me. Okay, so let's go slow. We watch this black dot move closer and closer to his neck, ultimately stopping right there. We're going to go back and forth for a minute. And it stays there before he was shot. It's clipped there to his shirt. But why would that be a microphone if he's holding a microphone? And then why does the dot move from his shirt directly to his neck and stop at his neck? It doesn't fly off his shirt. It just stops right at his neck. Somebody to explain this for me.
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing, anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Kaufman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of the, so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to kind of, it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We were on top of it. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by
how
out to the sides.
Somebody tell me how there's a like
so
okay.
it couldn't be right above where
This
you
is
were
before
at.
the
Like,
shot.
if I had to
Do you see
guess,
that little
and again,
red
it's still
spot
wrong, but if
above
I had to
his
guess, give a
freedom
statement right here,
to the
right now
left?
today,
Or sorry, his right shoulder, right below, right above his right pectoral muscle. Watch that speck turn into a bullet hole, but it moves across his shirt without leaving any trace that it was there, and then pops up onto his neck. Tell me how that's possible. You see it pop up onto his neck? Watch, it's over here. It's over here on his shoulder. Then it goes up. His shirt pops way up because I think there's a blood bag in there or something. But look at that, how it pops over. Now where's the hole? Where's the damage to the shirt if that's where the entry was? This is off.
But it goes to the point where, if, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith isn't allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's
and
right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite, but my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions, not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages.
It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple of comments like, well, what about...
Ik wil het even hebben over de zogenaamde neerschieten van de DJ Kirk, Captain Kirk. Je ziet hier onder zijn t-shirt, daar zit wat. Daar loopt gewoon een buisje. En je ziet, als hij dan zogenaamd neergeschoten wordt, dat zijn t-shirt eerst omhoog komt. Kijk maar. Komt-ie, pat. En ik ga het nog een paar keer herhalen. Maar je ziet dus dat het t-shirt eerst omhoog komt. Dat is dus die tube. Kijk, nu kun je het goed zien. Hier, zijn t-shirt komt eerst omhoog. Er zit dus gewoon een buisje onder zijn t-shirt. Met een reservoir met bloed. En op een of andere manier ontploft dat. En laat dat gewoon zogenaamd een bloedgat in zijn nek achter. En dan gaat dat bloed eruit stromen. Kijk, hier kun je het nog weer zien. En dan, kijk, dat is het buisje. En dan, ja, het is gewoon een Hollywood-productie dit. Het is verschrikkelijk, echt. Het is echt vreselijk hoe we in de maling genomen worden. En hoe miljoenen mensen dit weer gaan geloven. Er zit gewoon daar een zak bloed met een buisje. En een systeem waardoor het gewoon ontploft. En het gebeurt nu. Zie je? En let eens op zijn microfoon. Hoe lang houdt iemand die wordt neergeschoten, dodelijk wordt neergeschoten, een microfoon vast? Kijk, hij houdt hem nog de hele tijd vast. Hij blijft hem vasthouden. You're fooled again. Hoi, ik wil het even hebben over de zogenaamde...
Somebody's shooting over here. Hell of people running. There he is, right there. That guy. He's the guy.
Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
These guys not know this was taking place.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.